Number one, get a trademark or else it's going to be hell to sell on Amazon without one. You need to understand your numbers on a weekly basis. And that's been a pain point for me because I wish I was a little bit more involved earlier. I love marketing too. So going after design images, creating solutions to problems, that's something that I enjoy doing as well. I had like a 50% increase like year after year until 2022. I'm already 7 figures in.
Well, just to start off, I'd love to hear a little bit about your background before jumping into Amazon. What were you doing? And then what started to bring you over towards wanting to sell products?
Sure. So I've always been an entrepreneur. Once I graduated college, I automatically got into working. I started my own fashion brand. And I would say I was one of the initial launch brands to do like that whole fitness fashion workout wear. Like if you know that now fitness, like before it wasn't like that, like you would wear workout wear to the gym. Like I actually introduced the concept of, fashion workout wear that you can wear workout clothes and still look good in it. So
Yeah.
I launched that brand called Bluefish many moons ago, and that's where I really got my start into selling products and dealing with inventory. And then it was like the beginning launch of the internet and placing orders online.
Yeah.
And then I had distribution all over the world. I sold to Nordstrom. I sold to Equinoxes. I sold into all the major, locations. And that was a big learning curve for me too. So I went through the process, a lot of pain. 2008 came, and then I launched a second brand that was like not as expensive to cover that market. So I was always in tune with what the market wanted, but it came to the point that it was just like the inventory control and the design work. And every month I had to deal with new design. My manufacturing was abroad. So I had issues with that. So then I was like, I need to sell this company. I need to get out of this. I never want to see another clothing store or retail location in my life. And then I was able to sell it. The brand still exists till today. And I was like, I'm going to take, I was pregnant at the time. And I'm like, I'm just going to become a full-time mom, not want to work, relax. And then I guess I always sort of needed to give myself a title. So I became a domestic engineer. That's what I would call myself when people ask me what you did for a living. And then that lasted only like 3 months. And all of a sudden I was like, I can't do this anymore. And then I got into real estate.
Nice. So it sounds like a major learning opportunity, if anything,
Yeah.
all those things, learning lots of skills, but also learning the things that you didn't want to be involved with.
Right.
So how did you take that and then turn that into what you ended up launching and on Amazon, and what were your big goals when you set out to do that?
So with that, I started with real estate. And then within real estate, I noticed that I needed more things, more tangible things that I could see immediate results. And I think
Yep.
that's what I was looking for. And then I was looking for something that my term was like, I could make money while I'm sleeping. And that's when I was like, I need to get into this whole e-commerce world and understand how it is. And then that was sort of the beginning of it. I have the story of how I came up with my brand is it's pretty funny, but that's like another story to tell, I guess. But I decided it took me about 2 years to find a product to launch, because first I wanted to do fitness videos, because since I was in the workout world before, I was like, maybe I could sell fitness videos for moms to do something discreetly while they're in their kids' soccer practice. So then I partnered up with a trainer to launch videos, and then that didn't work out due to my astrology reading. So it's like it goes along those lines though. And then I started doing all these courses, when you start doing all these courses and you listen to all these speakers and they're like, oh, this is the magic way. This is how you find your perfect product. This is how you do this thing, blah, blah, blah. And then I came to the rule of that. I need to find something that is impulse buy, less than $20. If you stop using it, you'll see a difference, and there's not a lot of competition for it. And then that's how I came up with the product Men First, which falls within all those categories, and it's a subscription model. And I wanted to deal coming from the women's market. I wanted to work in the men's market. So that was another thing that I wanted to give it a try. And that's pretty much it. From there, I started learning, doing like all those Amazon courses. I am still paying for my Amazon courses. I've done so many of them, and it's always like it's a learning process. So I've launched the brand in 2019, and I've been growing ever since. So
Nice. And then, so if you want to just go ahead and like kind of describe a little bit of what your brand is and what you guys do.
sure. So my focus is now working with men is I wanted to make the world more handsome. So what does that mean? Is that means that men that don't feel confident about their look or they feel old, which is largely due to once you look at yourself in the mirror and you see that white hair, I think that's sort of your first initial reaction. Once you get older, you start losing your hair, you start getting your hair is white. So I've created a product that men can use at the ease of their home. It's a shampoo. Is like our main seller is a shampoo that they could, just wash their hair and it gradually darkens their white hair, which it's not a dye because it's not going to completely cover all of your white. So you're not going to be walking around like with like those jet black hair that most men are scared when you talk about them. Oh my God, you need to dye your hair. They're like, I'm never going to dye my hair. But once they understand it's a shampoo, it's a gradual process. They're not going to wake up and have a completely darker look. So it's a gradual process. So that's what I sell right now. The name of the brand is called Men First. And then the whole story behind the brand is that I believe that if men put themselves, their health first, their looks at first, this radiates into their confidence, which makes them a better husband, a better father, a better partner, you know, uh,
Yeah.
better person. So I think that it starts with how you see yourself and that reflects on your behavior. So I think that if men feel confident, this will have an effect on how they behave towards other people.
Yeah, that's great. And so when you came up with that idea and discovered it fit all your metrics, was it immediately you knew you wanted to dive into this, take the plunge, or did that take time, or how did that process go of getting started and actually?
No, I knew immediately. I was like, I need to sell this online. I don't want to have a store. I don't want to deal with wholesalers. I don't want to deal with distributors. I just want to sell this online and order comes in. I don't have to talk directly to the customers. Because I guess I went through that phase also with real estate is that I'm more the behind the scenes person, not necessarily the person in the front scenes in the front scene. So
Sure.
I feel much more comfortable sitting behind a computer and organizing everything and dealing with the main, with the suppliers or with the partners instead of dealing directly with the customers. And I think working with Amazon that sort of helped that problem. I guess that was it. It was something where it's the transition is going to be easy. And I love marketing too. So, going after design images, creating solutions to problems, that's something that I enjoy doing as well. So
Nice.
I
No,
think Amazon gave me that opportunity.
for sure. And so how did that initial jump go with finding a manufacturer and working with it? Was it easy to manufacture, or what were the steps and how?
So I was very lucky that in the time when I was going through this mission of looking for a brand, a good friend of mine was talking to me about how he brought a product from the US to Brazil. And then he was like, oh, this is the product that I have. I was raving. And then I started researching, the product that he brought into Brazil. And he's like, well, I'm going to develop something similar to that. And I'm like, okay, I love it. And I was still looking for that product. And then that's how it came to me. And I was like, hey, can I bring your product into the US? Because he lives in Brazil. And he's like, sure. I'm like, well, let me know when you find out the manufacturing, because he brought in another partner that's in the hair business that had contacts with manufacturing plants there. So for me, the transition, it was easy because I had someone local that knew the manufacturing part of that. And then I became the partner of the brand in the US.
Totally. And was a pretty big commitment to put down towards the manufacturing, or what that cost look like?
So in Brazil, it is because it's if you're not a very they don't have like a mid-size sourcing. Like if you're a mid-size company, because we're still struggling with that right now. Like cash
Yeah.
flow for me is a big issue because I have to pay my inventory like 6 months up front, 100%. So it's big. So as I'm growing, the more cash I need to invest. And just Brazil, the fact that it's Brazil, there's like a strike, like there's something going on, the factory gets raided, like there's always something happening, so I have to give enough room for stuff like that to happen. So it's usually 4 to 6 months I have to place my pre-orders in, which
Wow.
is that's been very hard for me.
Wow. Yeah, that's a big time
Yeah.
investment in front. So, but like, when you're buying these inventory of that, like, what's like the cost range, especially that's first cost.
The one good thing about Brazil is that you have more flexibility on the minimums that you have. So we were fortunate that like my minimums for a lot of things were I could say they were about like 2,000 units. Or
Okay.
now I'm ordering, over 50,000 units, but I started with 2,000. So that was that was good in that sense, where a lot of times they require more, and the fact that the dollar is 5 to 1, that helps a lot too. So the exchange rate is really good. And Brazil is known for a lot of their beauty and cosmetic stuff too. So the
Sure.
product is really, really good.
And do you mind sharing that, or the original cost that it took you to invest to get it started?
You're saying like how much to
Yeah,
start? Yeah, I think all in, I was about 50,000.
50,000, and that includes all elements at the start there, or
Yeah,
just
all in, and my marketing and my videos and my everything, like all in.
so breaking that down a little bit. So starting off like with the design of the product, how much, how exactly did you design the product, and how much did that cost you?
So for the design, as you're saying, the ingredients of the product, or for like the label work and all that
Like
stuff?
labeling, logos, any of that stuff.
Oh, that's you could, well, again, I worked with remote employees
Hmm.
that charge 1/5 of the price.
Yeah.
And I was very involved because I came from the fashion industry. So I had a very keen eye on design and the way things look. So if someone presents me something, I could just say, look, no, fix here. This is not correct here. Adjust this here. So I was pretty good with all the design of my products. So I was very involved. I was actually involved with a lot of the things from the beginning. Like, actually, I'm still involved. Any
Yeah.
design work that comes out with new bottles, new launches, like I'm always tweaking it. Like if I show you the progression of my bottles, it's like so different than what it was when I first launched. Because every year I'm like, oh my God, I don't like this anymore. I think it's the fact of me coming from my fashion industry and I'm used to always creating something new every 3 months. It's sort of like rolling into this as well.
Yeah, no, totally. That makes sense. Um, moving on, like, did you use any software and tools to either find your product or help with the development of it?
No, I did not. I did not, but I did a lot of tools and training for the marketing. So, but not for the product itself.
And then, did you get samples for your product before you move forward with it? Or, I mean,
So yeah, yeah.
was that all through your connection, or you have to pay for those
It was
samples?
all through, so my partners are the ones that handle it in Brazil. So, yes, they got samples and we tested it in a lot of people's hair. We've had a lot of friends that tried it. In the beginning, it was like it wasn't good enough. So we're always improving the formula as well, because one of my biggest problem with my formula, or not even problem, but it's pain points, is that it doesn't work on everybody. So my shampoo may darken your white hair, but your friend's white hair, it may not darken all of it, because of the composition of the hair and because our products do not have harsh chemicals in it.
Mhm.
So the fact that it doesn't have harsh chemicals in it, if your hair is not naturally porous, then my product will not work on your hair, which is a good thing, because you don't want to be putting something on your white hair to make it fall off.
Yeah,
So maybe my product is not the one for you, and we have other ones that's like a pomade that you could use. So that's how we try to educate our customers, is that if it's not working for you, then that's a good thing. You have healthy hair, let's maintain it healthy, and make sure not to use any other product that's going to destroy the health of your hair, because it's better having hair than no hair, right?
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Did you register the company as an LLC or
Yeah, an LLC.
an LLC, and how did you go about that registration process?
Since like, my husband makes fun of me that it's like that's what I do for a living. Like I probably own so many like .com companies and LLCs that you can imagine. Like I actually, I just know how to do it. I know how to open. I go to somebiz.org. I know everything that's needed. I set it all up, so I do it myself. It's pretty simple.
It probably saved you a bit too. That's nice.
Yeah.
And then going on to that first production run, of that startup cost, how much of that was strictly on the units and the production?
So I would say that for the initial production, I was probably about 10,000 in.
10,000 in.
Yeah.
Then was there any additional on like shipping of the product to the US from Brazil? What do those shipping rates look like?
Depends on what, if you ship by air or by sea. Like the custom clearance here usually ranges for me to pick it up and take it to the fulfillment center. If I have like 2 pallets, I'm looking at like $600.
Wow.
In Brazil, then you have the internal shipping for that. Because then I hire someone to ship from Brazil to FOB Miami, and then I have someone from Miami that clears it in the customs here, and then
Right.
transports it to my fulfillment center.
Sure, totally. And then for say, did you get a trademark for the product too, or
Yes,
yeah,
that's number one. Get a trademark, or else it's going to be hell to sell on Amazon without one. Like
yeah?
that's the number one recommendation.
And did you get a lawyer to do that, or how did you go about filing it?
So yes, I did get an attorney, like an attorney that has done previous work for me, but that was it's you're looking at like $500 back, and that's when I paid back in the day. It was about that.
Wow. Okay, yeah, that's pretty nice. So you launched on Amazon that first month, and it sounds like you put a lot of marketing into it as well for that launch.
So I launched on my website first.
Okay.
So I launched on my website first, and this is actually a funny story because when we launched on Shopify, and then every time a sale comes in, you hear like the little money, like the
Yeah.
cha-ching. You
Yeah.
know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So all I know is that I'm sleeping. Like we had just launched it. I put in a thing. I think I told like my brother. I'm like, hey, I just launched my website. On the thing. Why don't you like, support us? And I told all my family and friends. And then I remember I stayed all night. I was like super excited. And then I fall asleep. And then it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. Like all I know is that my husband hears it. He's like, ching. And I'm like sleeping. And then he hears like the ching. And then he goes and he films it. And he's like, look, she's finally making money while she's sleeping. She was able to do it. So that was
So
pretty like exciting that he has it like filmed talking about it like in the middle of the dark that I'm like making money while I'm sleeping because you hear the little cha-ching, cha-ching noise. So yeah.
that's super funny. So you launched on that website at first in Shopify, and then how long did it take you before you moved over to Amazon?
So with Amazon, it probably took me like until I understood how the shipping the products and the ASINs and the marketing and all that stuff. It took me like about 1 month. And then I started selling really well, like on Amazon. Like my sales were just
Wow.
like they just started coming in. Like I didn't even think it was that much. Like I didn't think it was going to happen that fast.
Yeah, we can do
And
we can
huh?
do estimates, but would you mind like kind of breaking those sales down, those numbers?
Oh my God, it's such a long time ago. It was
Yeah.
like 2019. I don't remember.
Do you
Um,
like a range at least for those?
all I know is that it was drastically a lot more than my website.
Wow. Okay. And okay, so month one, immediately it sounds like you had sales on Amazon, and then moving on to month two, then on Amazon, does anything change? Do you build upon that?
So yeah, I start building upon that, and I only had one SKU, so I was only selling one SKU. The sales started coming in the like month one, month two, month three, and then all of a sudden I got shut down from Amazon. Like I could not believe it. I was like, why am I shut down? They're like, well, because your product is a hazmat product because it's a dye, and then I had to like come in and show all the proof that look, my product is not a dye, my product is a shampoo, so it took me like it took me about a good 3 weeks for me
Wow.
to get it reactivated. This is what I'm going to tell all you Amazon
Yeah.
sellers or future sellers. It's a matter you get on the call. Like you have to call and speak to the customer service
Mhm.
like all day. Like I probably would call like 20 times a day, like
Yeah.
giving them my story, blah, 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 and then I got like one that was able to reactivate my brand
Wow.
because it was just you can't give up.
Wow.
I'm
That's
actually experiencing that with TikTok now, so I know exactly what it is
TikTok's got a whole process right
with
there.
TikTok Shop. So I'm going through that right now.
Yeah, I know how that is. So it took a few weeks. When you finally got back on Amazon, did sales pick back up?
Let's
Or
pick back up. Yeah.
right
Yeah,
away?
because I'm very fortunate that my product is very hard to make. So it's not easy for people to make it. That's why no one's been able to do something similar to it because it's a very complicated product to make. And sales just started kicking in, and then I started launching additional SKUs, and then that's when like my sales, I was with a 50% increase. 2019, 2020, COVID came, so I'm like packing all my orders. My entire family's like packing orders in the house, shipping. Everyone's like, oh, did you rest during COVID? I'm like, no, I never worked so hard in my life. I'm like packing and shipping all day. And then imagine it's a product that allows men to darken their hair in their house. So a lot of people men that used to dye their hair, they couldn't do it anymore. So my product was perfect for it. So that
Totally.
helped. Yeah.
So when did you go about releasing those second SKUs that you mentioned?
1 year in, I was like, after 1 year is when I released it. Like
Would have been
so
2020.
yeah, like 2020, I started releasing it. And then
And
it was
what
go ahead,
was the second SKU?
I'll show you. So I have the shampoo, and then I did one for light shades. I launched that later.
Okay.
And then I did the beard wash. Then I launched the beard wash. And then
Nice.
I have I launched the pomade, which is like a little one that you put, like you
Yeah.
cover the little thing, which is these are for the people that my product doesn't work on. This one's really
Mhm.
good. And then I have the beard balm that's like a leave-in conditioner. That's really good too.
Totally. Nice.
Like gradually darker. So then that was sort of the how I slowly launched each of them. And then I launched them for light shades too. So I have dark shades and light shades.
Nice. So did that all happen in 2020 or did that happen kind of more over time?
2020 I launched the SKUs for the dark shades, and then 2021 I launched the for light shades, and then I launched the second group for light shades, and then I just launched like a semi-permanent dye, and I in 2022, and then last year I just launched the conditioner too.
Nice. Okay. Very cool. So bringing on to 2020, obviously a huge year for you. Moving on to 2021 from there, did sales continue to increase with these other
Yeah.
SKUs?
Yeah, I had like a 50% increase like year after year until 2022. I'm already 7 figures in,
Wow.
and 2023 it's I sold the same as I did as 2022 because I had a very strong Q2 last year and I wasn't prepared with inventory. Like I had my inventory I've sold out.
Wow.
And then once you sell out, like that's it. Like Amazon punishes you forever, so I'm still paying for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So do you have a number in your head, like a total amount that you've made selling on Amazon?
Yeah, I think I'm probably like 4 million from Amazon.
That was very impressive. So throughout this process, obviously a lot of success. Is there anything you feel like was like a big mistake you made along the way, or something you would do differently a second time around?
It's something that I'm still working on is that you need to understand your numbers on a weekly basis. And for me, since I'm more of a creative person, it's hard for me to create that habit of like having that habit, that weekly habit of just reviewing your numbers. So you need to make sure that you work with people that are able to present that to you on a weekly basis. And that's been a pain point for me because I wish I was a little bit more involved earlier
Yeah.
than not. And then I've gone through probably like 15 different marketing agencies. So I'm pretty hands-on with the agencies that I work with. I wish I didn't have to be because I wish I could do all this on my own, but it's not my strength. You know.
Sure. On Amazon, have you run any PPC or things like that, or no?
Personally, or yes, I that's those were one of the first courses I started doing, like with Amazon. Like I started doing really well. I understood it, but then I get sidetracked by
Yeah.
other things, and then I'm like, oh, I got to launch a new product. Oh, the design on this is not working, and then
So so for any of your SKUs, are like are many of the sales driven by PPC, or is it still mainly organic?
no, I have a lot of it's driven by PPC. So I would say,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, it is. It's about my advertising accounts to about 28%.
Well, 28%.
Yeah.
Nice. Cool. Yeah, thanks for joining today. And yeah, we'll be in touch about those in the next session.
All right. Awesome. Thank you. Bye.
Keep it going.